Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Madhav Ji ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, I go Premanande. Thank you for playing so nicely. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivo Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, one of our principal texts here at ISKCON. Canto 10, entitled Saman Bonam. And we are at chapter 13, continuing with our verse. The chapter is entitled The Stealing of the Boys and Calves by Brahma. This is Lord Brahma stealing the boys and the calves, like that. And we are reading verse 52, which is on the board. So we'll recite this together. It's like a call and response. So I say the first line and then we repeat like that. Yeah? Animatyar mahimabir Animatyar mahimabir Ajadyabir vibhutibi Ajadyabir vibhutibi Chaturvimsatibhistatve Chaturvimsatibhistatve Paritamahat Adibi Paritamahat-adibi Animatye mahamabir Animatye mahimabir Ajadyabir vibhutibi Chaturvamshitibhistatve Chaturvimshatibhistatve Parita Mahad Adibi Animadyer Mahimabir Ajadyabir vibhutibi Chaturvam Vimshatibhistatve Parita Mahad Adibi. Vaishnavas?
Animadyet mahimabir
Animadyer Mahimabir
Ajadyabir vibhutibi
Ajadyabir vibhutibi
Chaturvimshatibhistatve
Chaturvimsatibhistatve
Parita mahadadibihi
Parita Mahadadibihi Animadyer Mahimabir Ajamahi vibhutibi Chaturvimsatibhistatve Parita Mahadadibihi. Vaishnavis? Animate Mahimabir Ajadyabir vibhutibi Chaturvimsatibhistatve Parita Mahadadibi. Anyone else? Don't be shy. All amongst family here, so it's okay. No? Okay. Word for word. Anima Adye. Headed by Anima. Mahima Bihi. By opulences. Aja Adyabi. Headed by Aja. Vibhuti Bihi. By potencies. Chatuvimsatibihi, 24 in number. Tatvehi, by elements for the creation of the material world. Paritaha, all the Vishnu Murtis were surrounded. Mahat Adibihi, headed by the Mahat Tattva. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhaicharaminda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Do we need translation in French? How many requires translation in French, please? If you raise your hand, if you require translation in French, transcription of François. Prabhu is, Mais Prabhu is translating. No, you're not. Okay, you've got a book there. Okay, so who's going to... You can translate into French? Wonderful. Maybe Prabhu, would you like to sit here? And I can ask Raphael Prabhu also to sit next to, on this side. I don't think Raphael speaks French either. Oh, he doesn't speak French. Oh, where are you from, Raphael? Polish. Wonderful. Wow. Any Polish devotees want to translate into Polish? No, I'm just joking. Sorry. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Okay, so if anybody else want French, then maybe this one. I think Harin is probably busy with other services. That's probably okay. Thank you. Translation. All the Vishnu Murtis were surrounded by the opulences, headed by Anima Siddhi, by the mystic potencies, headed by Aja, and by the 24 elements for the creation of the material world, headed by the Mahatattva. Purport. In this verse, the word Mahima Bihi means Aishwarya, which also means in English opulences. Opulences, which are what we are seeing here, living in a wonderful castle. It's an opulent castle, right? So this is another form of a Mahima Bihi or Aishwarya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can do whatever He likes. That is His Aishwarya, His opulence. No one can command Him, but He can command everyone. Shad Aishwarya Purnam. The Lord is full in His 6 opulences. The Yoga Siddhis, the perfections of yoga, such as the ability to become smaller than the smallest, known as Anima Siddhi, or bigger than the biggest, known as the Mahima Siddhi, are present in Lord Vishnu. Shad Aishwarya Purno Ya Iha Bhagwan. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila says 1.3. The word Aja means Maya or mystic power. Everything mysterious is in full existence in Vishnu. He's doing it over here for the Prabhus. So do you want to do it for the French? Just a one. Okay, maybe Prabhus, if you don't mind, please, we can move that way. Prabhu, please, for the French translation. Just at the back there, yeah. Then Matajis can also hear. You okay? Okay. We continue with the purport. The 24 elements mentioned are the 5 working senses. Hare Krishna. Sorry, can I just have attention? Back in the class. Thank you. Continue with the purport. The 24 elements mentioned are the 5 working senses. Pancha karma indriya. Pancha means 5. Karma, indriya. Karma means working. Indriya means senses. 5 working senses. The 5 senses for obtaining knowledge. Pancha Jnana Indriya. Gyan means knowledge, Indriya means senses, Pancha means 5. The 5 gross material elements, Pancha Mahabhuta. The 5 sense objects, Pancha Tanmatra. The mind, Manas, the false ego, Ahankara, the Mahatattva, and the material nature, Prakriti. These are all total constitutes 24 elements that are described in this purport today. All 24 of these elements are employed for the manifestation of this material world. The Mahatattva is divided in 2 different subtle categories, but originally it is called the Mahatattva, like that. That's the end of the purport. Just do some gratitude prayers. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Radha Govinda Mataji ki, Krishna Balaram ki, Gaurnitai ki. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So I'll just repeat the translation again. All the Vishnu Murtis were surrounded by the opulences headed by Anima Siddhi, by the mystic potencies headed by Aja, and by the 24 elements for the creation of the material world headed by the Mahat Tattva. So again, thank you very much for allowing me to speak some few words, and I seek blessings from all the seniors who attended here today. And I ask you to keep me honest as well as answer some of the difficult questions that are going to be coming our way later on by the end of this class, because we're talking about creation. We're talking about the elements of creation, elementary creation of this entire material world this time. We know that there is, in our Charitamrita class on Saturday, we talked about varieties of creation. So there's now, we're coinciding 2 books, 2 sets of knowledge, Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam. They're coinciding in our little temple here because we're talking in both sets about creation. On Saturday we talked about Sarga Visarga. Sarga means the creation of the entire spiritual world. And Visarga means the empowerment of Lord Brahma, who is the ultimate creator of the material universe. And we've seen that there are many, many universes. But in this small universe, headed up by 4-headed Brahma, 3-headed Brahma, some debate there, 4-headed Brahma, one was chopped off, I think 5, and then one became 4, thank you. Lord Shiva chopped off that head, but we won't go there. That's another can of worms we won't open today. So I seek your blessings, and we'll be able to answer so many of these questions. So just a quick recap of this verse 52, and how we've reached here, because this is coming towards the end of this chapter. And we reached here by Krishna performing some pastimes back in the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan, whereby he's feeding the cowherd boys. They've gone out to graze the cows, and they've all got their own individual lunch packs, right, that you normally have. Of course, your mother will give you lots of lunch packs so that you can do your grazing and so on. And Krishna was surrounded by all the gopas, and he was sitting in the middle. He was sharing his lunch pack with all the others, and they were sharing their lunch pack with him, with left hand and right hand and God knows what, half eaten, all these things. So Lord Brahma was completely bewildered when he saw this wonderful pastime that was going on. He heard lots of glories about Krishna, that, wow, this wonderful boy I've heard is in this universe, blue boy. I mean, how many of you have seen a blue boy? Unless somebody is very, very badly bruised. Well, blue boy in that way. But no, not a regular blue boy. And it's not even blue, actually. It's like somewhat today's weather, like a dark monsoon cloud. That's actually the color. But unfortunately, we don't have a color palette to draw Krishna in that way. So we draw him like this, like a light, darkish blue, like that. And so that blue boy was performing his wonderful pastimes. And Lord Brahma was like, I'm going to watch this blue boy. What are they doing? So he comes down from his highest planet in Satyaloka, he comes down to the Bhumaloka, earthly planets. And so therefore, he sees the pastimes of the Lord, eating in this way, and him having created the material energy and created all the rules that govern the material energy, he's thinking, why is he eating with the left hand? If he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who I have received all my knowledge from, why is he eating with his left hand? Why is he sharing his food? I mean, that's not etiquette. Let me test this young boy. Is he really the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So what does the Lord Brahma do? Yes, he steals the cowherd boys and the calves. Because Krishna goes, somebody says, oh, look, the calves are going over the hill on the other side. Krishna goes, don't worry, you all carry on with your lunch. I'm going to go and reach out all the calves. I'm going to go and bring them back. So he goes to the cows. The calves are there. All the boys are there. And so Brahma says, I'm going to play a little trick. I'm going to test him. He steals all the cows and the little calves. All the cowherd boys and little calves. And he hides them in a cave. Right. And so Krishna comes back and he sees, somebody's been naughty here. So he expands himself. Krishna has this wonderful way of expanding himself. We see one first example of this expansion in that beautiful painting where Krishna is, all the cows are, and his first expansion is his brother Balaram. That's his first expansion. Identical, practically identical. So he expands himself into all the little cowherd boys and the calves. And so when Brahma comes back and says, okay, now I've secured those calves and cowherd boys in this cave. I'm going to do my round and come back. And he comes back after his sort of 1 day, I think 1 day or less than a day, just a few moments. And so in that time, a year has gone by. 1 year has gone by. And he comes back and sees, oh, the calves and the cowherd boys are there. They are playing still, they are carrying on. What's going on? Why? I thought I hid them. So he's confused. Did I dream it? Did I make a mistake? Let me go and check in the cave. Naturally, that's what he'll do. So he went and checked in the cave. The calves, the calves and the cowherd boys were sleeping, resting. Isn't it like they do? To cut a long story short, because it's a lot of pastime, and we have a lot to cover. In that is called Brahma, Lord Brahma's Vimohan Leela. It's a pastime. Leela means pastime. Well, Lord Brahma, the creator of this entire material universe, who possesses 70% of the qualities of Krishna, gets bewildered by the opulence of Lord Krishna. And we come to this part when Brahma tries to test the young Krishna like he's done. We also know Brahma to be the topmost teacher in our line of disciplic succession. As we know, our Sampradaya starts with Lord Brahma. In the back of the Bhagavad Gita, in the back of the introduction, you will see an entire disciplic line of teachers and students. That's why the information, the knowledge doesn't get lost. The knowledge stays pure because a pure teacher is imparting knowledge to a pure student. Like that. That is called disciplic succession. And Lord Brahma is very much aware that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is my ultimate Lord. He's given me all this information and the knowledge to create. But because of the potency, the external energy of Lord Krishna, called the Yoga Maya potency, has bewildered Lord Brahma because he wants to create this pastime. Right? And so in today's verse, we see that many of the opulences are now being described as Vishnu Murtis, because what Brahma sees eventually when he sees Krishna back again with the calves and the calves and the cowherd boys, he sees the four-handed form of Narayan, where Lord Brahma also sees that when he was looking to create. He sees not only the four-handed form, he sees all the opulence. He sees them with all of the chakra, padma, the mace, the lotus flower, the chakra, etc. And all the opulence with the helmets and all the nice garlands and gold that is decorating. But more importantly, also sees these wonderful opulences that are the 24 elements, as well as the mystic siddhis. These siddhis are present in them, as we've just described. Now, in the purport and the translation, these siddhis, the Vishnumurtis, which are surrounded by the opulences, headed up by Anima Siddhi. When he says headed up, what does it mean to you? When he says headed up by somebody or something? Led by. Yes, by led by. That means there must be a person who's leading it, isn't it? Led by. So Anima Siddhi is a personality, another expansion. And same with the other siddhis that are there. Like mystic potencies headed up by Aja. It's a personality. Similarly, the 24 elements for the creation headed by Mahatattva, again, is a personality. They all do their activities. Similarly, there are 33 million demigods that are completely governing this entire universe. Just like in a government, there is the king or a queen, then there is the party that rule, that govern, prime minister, chancellor, etc., etc. Just like a government organization or a company organization, there is an entire organization for this sarga and visarga. It is not out of accident from a Big Bang theory. Scientists might want to tell you, yes, it's a Big Bang theory. Some chemicals got together and they went, woohoo, let's go, bang. And so much order comes around. Right. It's a theory. Well, it's a nice theory, something to talk about. But we won't go there again today. So, as we're carrying on, I would like to focus ourselves onto these 24 elements that have been created, because that's what's described as part of the purport today. Earlier in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in Canto 3, Chapter 26, Lord Kapila, in his conversation to his mother, Devahuti, actually describes 25 elements. 24, 25, it's okay, because he also considers the soul as part of the creation in the material world. Although the soul has come from the spiritual world, it's spiritual in nature, but he also considers the soul also. So let's go into these 5 working senses. The 5 working senses known as the Pancha Karma Indriya. Karma means work, like in karma. Yeah, karma means work or action. And Indriya means senses. So working senses. And Pancha means 5. So what are these 5 working senses? Anybody know? What are the 5 working senses? What do we use in our body that we use for working? Legs. Yes, legs. Hands. Yes. What else do we use for working? Yes. Head. Okay, well, yes, it's also one of those, but that's usually not required for working, except for the brain. It's required the brain. Very good, Sangeeta. Hands, legs, tongue or the mouth. Yes, tongue, mouth. Eyes also is also part of the head. Okay, we can call it like that. But it's 5, so that's hands, legs, mouth, genitals, and anus. Those are the 5 working senses that are required. Those were first created. Then the 5 knowledge gathering senses, which is Pancha Gyan Indriya. Gyan means knowledge, Indriya means senses, Pancha means 5, right? So what are the knowledge gathering senses? Which are the knowledge gathering senses? Now Sangeeta can say eyes. Eyes, through the eyes we gather knowledge, isn't it? Ears, yes, through hearing we also gather knowledge. How many ears do we have? Really? 4, yes, thank you. Those who attended the Gita Life course, 4 ears. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ears, right? Okay, 2 outer ears and 2 inner ears. That's 4 ears. We have inner ear and outer ear. 4 ears. And then what else do we have in terms of knowledge gathering senses? Nose. Through the sense of smell, we also gather knowledge. What else do we have? Skin and touch, yes. And, as Simon Prabhu says, tongue. You see, when babies picking things up when they're early, first thing they'll do, and they'll pick something up, they put it in their mouth. Why? Because they're seeing what it is. Same with animals out there. That's also a knowledge acquiring sense. Then there's 5 gross material elements. Pancha Mahabhuta. And that is, we all know the gross elements. Earth, water, fire, ether, air. Right? So how many is that so far? 15. So far we've been counting 15 elements. Yes, thank you. And then we have 5 sense objects. Yes, Pancha Tan Matras. These are subtle elements now, related and associated to the 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So they are? Sight. Yes, so form, sight, sound, smell, touch, taste. Thank you. Yes, those are 5 sense objects. And then we have the rest. So how many is that? And how many are we describing? 24, 25. So 1 mind, we have that manas. 1 ahankara. What does ahankara mean? Ego. Yes. Now ego, also known as contaminated consciousness, because we have 2 types of ego. We have the false ego and we have the real ego. Yeah, we'll describe those in a minute. And then the 1 mahatattva, where everything has to lie. 1 material nature, prakriti. And then of course Rishabhadev said, Kapila Dev says, the soul, Atma, which manifests as consciousness, which can also be the product of the presence of the soul. Right? In this body, we have the soul. The whole body is working, and we have consciousness only because of the soul. As soon as the soul goes, the body is dead, finished. That's why they say when somebody dies, he's gone, or she's gone, or they're gone. The cow is dead. The cow is gone. Well, where are they gone? The body is there. Where have they gone? If people didn't believe that the existence of the soul, because many scientists don't, then they can't say the term, in English term, they are gone, or she's gone, or he's gone. Isn't it? So all of these elements, 25 elements are there. The main reason in today's verse we only have 24 is, as I said, Lord Kapila described the soul as part of that also. As a spirit soul, we actually are originally created in the spiritual world. So technically it's 24 elements plus the soul. One of the items that is described is something called the ego, ahankara. Now ego has 2 parts, our real ego and our false ego. So ego is like, I'm doing something, me, myself and I'm the doer, I'm the controller of this entire material planet. Some people think like this. Can you think of some examples of who thinks like, I am the controller, the creator in this current world? You might have seen in the news perhaps. Donald Trump. How many times? I was actually thinking that last night when I said I would ask everyone. Donald Trump thinks as he controls the entire world, right? Because as soon as he became president, he wanted to go to Russia, he wanted to go to China, he wanted to go to India and say, right, guys, stop fighting. I want to give you lots of tariffs. Tariffs are just like, some taxes that he wants to obviously up the country again. Anyway, yeah, Donald Trump thinks he's the controller of the world. The belief that I am the controller, I own everything, that is false. Hence, false ego. Because ultimately, let's think about it. What have we actually created? Everything has been provided by Lord Brahma through Krishna. Krishna is actually giving him the information. Brahma's creating. Everything is provided by Krishna. The earth that we live in, fire, water, air, ether, that we've just described, all these things. Man doesn't create anything really. Even man is created. The body is created by the Lord. Even the body is given to us. So how can we claim to be the proprietor of something that we don't even own? When we claim something that is not ours, what is that called? Stealing, thief. Yeah, it's thief. So when we're claiming falsely, that's ours, when something is not, this is mine. I like these kartals. That's why I'm always playing these kartals. I'm going to take them. Lord Chan Prabhu. I'm a thief. Similarly, that's called the false ego. The real ego is actually understanding what is our purpose and who we are. Firstly, who we are, the identity of the soul, and what's our purpose? How did this soul, the spiritual soul, come about? It's part and parcel of the supreme soul, which came from the spiritual world. This is the material world where we don't belong. We have the spiritual world, which is 3/4 in size. This is only quarter in size. 3/4 in size spiritual world, we belong there, actually. So what are we doing here? Natural question. Well, we're here to lord it over the material nature, to steal things. To then become enjoyer. Yes, we're enjoying. Yes, yes. We're eating so much nice foods and doing all the naughty things at night and whatnot. That's why we came here in this park. But some of us have realized this because of mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We now know, hang on a minute, this human body is something else, not just like animals, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. It's for something else other than eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And therefore, we have this opportunity in this precious human form of life to get out of this material world of cycle of birth, old age, disease and death. When we come out of this cycle, continuously going on for millennium after millennium, for 8.4 million species of life, which we've been through already, by the way, you just don't remember. Krishna remembers because he is traveling with us as the super soul in our heart, along with the soul. All the 8.4 million species of life, he's been there with us. What merciful father is he? He comes with you whenever we are a hog, eating stool, eating dust, dirt. He's still there with us. Come on, when is he going to turn to me? Or she? When is she going to turn to me? That's the thing. But he comes. And so, that is the difference between false ego is when we are thinking me, myself and I. But the original purpose as a soul is as a servant of the Lord. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, Das anu das anu das. Servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, or the society. Ultimately, we're all serving, isn't it? If we're not serving each other, if we're not serving in a spiritual sense, if we're not serving Krishna, if we're not serving God, Prabhupada says, then we will serve dog. In a master-dog relationship, let's prove this. Master-dog relationship. Who's the master and who's the servant? Who's the master? The dog is the master. Because the owner has to go to work, buy the food, take the dog for a walk, pick up his poo-poo when he goes and does this in the business in the ground. Because in the Western world, they have to pick up. In the Eastern world, well, that's nice, material nature. They'll take care of it. And they also have to feed the dog. They have to love the dog. And the dog also reciprocates. Unconditional love the dog has. Right? And that is the love that we've got to develop. So let's all become dogs. We'll learn how to be unconditional, and then we can love Krishna. Or just like a mother and a child. Otherwise, it's just lust. Because it's conditioned. Conditioned love, we don't want. So when we serve with a mood of unconditional nature, what happens? We are developing that nature of unconditional love. like that. Okay? And that realization that we are the servant of the Lord comes from the first form of hearing. This is the first step in any devotional practice. Shravanam, hearing. Right? Sound is also created. Like I said, how many ears do we have?
6,200.
4 ears. How many ears do we have? Not number of years. 62 years. That would be wonderful years. Actually, 6,200 years we can hear about Krishna. That's wonderful. Actually, when some of the gopis, who was it? Somebody said, I wish I had millions of years in the Bhagavatam. Somebody said, I wish I had millions of years I could hear about Krishna's pastimes. Rupa Goswami said, thank you, thank you. And so the first step of the 9-step devotional practice is hearing. Shravanam. From hearing, we can then, by hearing attentively, we can then do something called Kirtanam, which is chanting or singing or speaking all about Krishna's pastimes. And then comes Smaranam. Then we start remembering our original constitution position as the servant of the Lord. When we start hearing attentively, we start singing, oh, hang on a minute, I am actually the servant of the Lord. And then comes Pada Sevanam, serving. Then we start to serve. All these steps are there to actually invoke our original process to go back to Godhead and to develop this something called unconditional love, bhava. That's the topmost stage. And when we come to that stage, that is when we feel the best symptoms of we've perfected our devotional life. Even from a scientific point of view, there are many things about sound itself. Sound has, let's break sound down into its component parts. Sound has frequency, also known as pitch, which is definition is number of vibrations per second measured in hertz. The effect of sound, it determines the pitch of sound, high or low. This is called frequency, right? Amplitude is the loudness of sound, because we have to be able to hear clearly. If the sound sometimes is too loud, we won't be able to hear it. If it's too low, we won't be able to hear it. But other animals, they can do that. Like dogs can have very high-pitched hearing, and they can go to a certain position. They have a very good sense of smell, and they can then catch drug addicts and drugs in airports, etc. The next part of the sound is, so we have talked about frequency, we talked about amplitude, loudness, height of the sound wave measured in decibels. Determines the volume or intensity of the sound. Then we have wavelength, which is the distance between two consecutive peaks or troughs in a wave. That's also a measure of sound. So relationship of wavelength, which is speed of sound over frequency. That's called wavelength. The effect is the related pitch and propagation is the characteristics of the wavelength. And obviously we know about sound and pitch because we require a certain degree of sound vibration to be able to hear it properly. The other 3 items of sound: timbre or tone quality. Definition is the quality or color of sound. Yes, sound also has certain colors that makes it unique. For example, a piano versus a violin have different knowledge, isn't it? Due to the harmonics or overtone present in the sound, that is actually what the cause of timbre or tone is. Then there is duration of sound, how long the certain sound would last. And that is important in speech and music. When somebody is speaking too fast, like I'm speaking too fast right now, some of you are not able to perhaps catch up because that's what I do when I'm nervous. Sound in speech, importance of duration in speech and music allows us to understand the knowledge that is coming through the hearing process. And finally, there is the phase of sound, relative alignment of waves in time. It affects the interference patterns and spatial sound perception. Especially, have you been to a canyon where you just go, hello, 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 hello? It's called an echo. It sounds back, isn't it? This is through the wavelengths. Wavelengths are bouncing back and forth. Bats use this to navigate because bats are blind. Bats are blind. They say blind as a bat. Right? They use sound very effectively in order to navigate. This is their knowledge. Now, the reason why I told you about sound, and we've started off with the different elements, because there's a comparator. In Vedic philosophy, especially in Sankhya Yoga and Vedanta systems, sound, also known as Shabda, is not just mechanical vibration, because it is also subtle spiritual phenomenon. Hare Krishna Mahamantra comes directly from the spiritual world in a sound vibration, penetrating the entire universal creation, which evolves through different stages. So sound has 4 stages called Chatur, Sabda, Vashta. Shabda Vashta, Chatur means 4, Shabda Vashta means sound stages. So sound has 4 stages. One is Para, transcendental sound, which has a root called Mooladhara, which is the root. And the description is said is unmanifest, originates from the Atma, the soul, and Shabda Brahman, the highest being. Pashyanti, visualizing sound, comes from the navel region of the creation, and our navel region also, which is where thoughts come from. Our thoughts actually originate from our navel region before it becomes audible. Then Madhyama, intermediate from the heart region, that's when mental sound is and internal speech is. Sometimes when we are talking to ourselves, we're generally talking from the heart, because that is actually our ability to communicate with our original self, the soul. That's in the heart region. And then finally there's Vaikari, audible sound, comes from the throat, spoken or externalized sound. And we have lots of scriptural sources for this information. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, it says, sound is the representation of the Supreme Lord. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I am the sound of Om. Right? The transcendental sound can reveal the absolute truths, Shabda, which is the beginning of creation. Right? So the emphasis here is on the hearing clearly with attention, which is very much our practice. We say, be attentive. When you're chanting, be attentive. When you're glorifying the Lord, do it with an attention. Without attention, what happens? We are elsewhere, spacing out. Sachinanda Swami Maharaj say, don't space out, space in. Go inwards. And that way you'll be able to be more attentive and use all our senses to be attentive in the process of chanting, kirtan, etc. The other part of today's purport talked about siddhis. Right? I've got just 5-10 minutes. I'll quickly go through siddhis. Various yoga siddhis, which can be obtained by hatha yogis, those who perform various asanas, various Ashtanga yogas, yogis, they actually attain these siddhis. The primary siddhis are the Ashta siddhis, 8 primary ones, like Anima siddhi. Anima siddhi means, which is covered in the purport today, Anima siddhi makes you smaller than the smallest. If you want it to be smaller than the smallest, you have this Anima siddhi. Mahima siddhi means actually is heavier than the heaviest. If you want it to become really, really heavy, you can do that. Lagima siddhi is lighter than the lightest. Prapti siddhi, obtain an object from anywhere in their hand. From anywhere, you just go boom, comes along. Prakyama siddhi, call for anything according to one's desires. Prakyama. Isita siddhi, control the subpotencies of the material nature. We talked about the subpotencies. Vasita siddhi, bring others into their control. If you wanted to control somebody, they can use siddhis to bewilder your mind, bewilder your intelligence. And then finally, Kama Vasita siddhi, obtain anything and everything that one may desire. Now there's one example that I think Prabhupada wanted some fruit from somewhere, and one yogi or Babaji was there and said, yes, the devotees asked, we require this pomegranate or pineapple, I can't remember. He said, yes, I can get it, because it wasn't the season of pomegranate or pineapple at that time. He said, okay, I can get it. Boom, here's a pomegranate. He was, I think, from Afghanistan. He goes, oh, where did you get it from? It's from Afghanistan. So they have these siddhis, and it's proven also. So within our scriptures, do we know any characters who have these siddhis, especially these Ashta siddhis, the primary siddhis? Any characters from our Puranas or our Bhagavatam? Hanumanji, yes, Lord Hanuman, the consort of Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra was the incarnation of Krishna in 2 previous ages. Yeah, Lord Hanuman was able to be heavier than heaviest, larger than largest, smaller than smallest. All these things he had primary glorification. Also in his 40 verses called the Hanuman Chalisa. It was Ashta Siddhi no Nidike Data. Is Ashta Siddhi. All the primary siddhis are present in Lord Hanuman because he was given these special siddhis. Of course, there are also secondary siddhis. These secondary siddhis, I'll just quickly go through them. Ability to free oneself from hunger and thirst. Ability to hear things very far, far away. Ability to see things very far, far away. Do you know any examples from Mahabharata? Somebody who could see things very far, far away. Sanjaya, he was sitting there in the kingdom of Hastinapur, reciting to the evil king Dhritarashtra about what's going on in Kurukshetra, 80 miles away. Isn't it? He was able to visualize, he was able to see. Why? Because Vyasadeva, the compiler of all this Vedic knowledge, gave him that siddhi. He wasn't doing yoga because he was an administrator in the kingdom. So, but another yogi who has the siddhis can impart that siddhi to them. And he did that. Ability to adopt any form they desire, like Marich in Ramayana took a form of a deer, golden deer. And he was leading Ram away from Sita so Ravana can kidnap Sita like this. Ability to enter any living entity's material body. So you've got to be careful of these yogis. I went to Kumbh Mela. How many of you been to Kumbh Mela? Wow, nice. And some of you also got sprinkled with the Kumbh Mela water. That means you're all going to be liberated. Why? Because I put some in the Guru Puja Arti. So then you all are getting liberated. Haribol! So, in Kumbh Mela, you have this. You see so many yogis and millions of yogis and babajis. Some of them are like levitating. Some of them are like, walking on water. Some of them are traveling from the Himalayas through the rivers into Kumbh Mela in Prayagraj. And they pop up, poop, like this. Because millions of yogis are not traveling from Himalayas to Kumbh Mela. You don't see this millions of yogis coming down the road, on the trains, down all the way to Prayagraj. You don't see them. And it was said in the news, around 650 million people came for this Kumbh Mela event, which happens only 144 years, every 144 years. It was a big Mahakumbh. Anyway, it's a big event. Ability to control time, control even their time of death. Again from Mahabharata, who could control their time of death? Bhishma Dev. Yes, he was given a boon by his father. You will die whenever you like. He was able to control time. Ability to see the pastimes of the demigods along with the celestial wives. Ability to manifest any thought, their desire. For example, more nearer to us, Srila Prabhupada here, sitting here. He desired many, many temples around the world. In this very, very swampy land in India, by the beach. It was just deserted land, very swampy. Does everybody know what swampy means? Swampy means very soggy, a swamp, yeah. Like where the frogs are and you can't put even foundation there. He envisaged the Juhu temple. In Mumbai, there's an area called Juhu. It's a beautiful beach area now. All the film actors and Bollywood actors live there now. And we have a beautiful temple there called the Juhu temple. Prabhupada envisioned that. He desired it, Krishna provided. So then they have this ability. Ability to speak whatever they speak and it becomes true. They say something, true. Usually Brahmanas, pure Brahmanas, they say something, true. They can say negative thing and positive thing. It becomes true. So you got to be very careful for offending any brahmanas. If they say something wrong about you, it's difficult. Of course, there are some other shorter siddhis also, like ability to understand what's past, present, and future, ability to read others' minds. I mean, you might have seen even in human beings, they say, "Oh, you're a mind reader." If you have a partner, usually ladies have this sixth sense. They read the minds. So husbands are like, "Oh, don't do anything." Yes, dear. No, dear. Not like this. Check out the influences of fire, water, etc. Like this. That's also there. Ability to conquer or defeat over others, and so on and so forth. There are so many secondary siddhis also. So through this process of yoga, through this process of bhakti yoga, different yogic process, you could develop so many siddhis. Vaishnavas have so many qualities. Vaishnavas like Srila Prabhupada had so many siddhis. But did he show them? Did Prabhupada say, right, I have this siddhi, psh, boom. Bhagavatam said, boom. No, he painstakingly transferred everything, translated everything. Why? Because he doesn't want to show his siddhis. But somebody spotted him who was showing his siddhis. Some devotees spotted him inside his bedroom having some siddhis. Any examples people can think of? I've got a couple, but any examples people can think of? Yes, Harini. Yes. Prabhupada was singing Kirtan. He became so involved in the pastime, his skin started changing color. It could be either golden or Gauranga Mahaprabhu's color, for example. Yeah, who knows, right? She's here to deliver us all. Another time, Prabhupada was having a conversation. This is at Bhaktivedanta Manor. In his darshan room, he was seeing there was a light underneath the door at night time. He was having a conversation. And then this devotee sort of like peeked through the hole and he could see Prabhupada with a huge garland of big flowers. And these flowers you don't even see in this material world. And that aroma came through the door. It was like, wow, this aroma is intense. So devotees are thinking, they asked Prabhupada, and I think he said it was either Narada Muni or somebody came and gave him the flower garland when they were traveling. Now Narada Muni is a celestial devotee of the Lord who travels around material and universal creations, who simply just travels around with his little, not a guitar, but a tambura, a veena, like this. Any other examples? So Prabhupada had this siddhi of talking to animals. One time in Vrindavan, a monkey stole his book. Charan Prabhu says, and Prabhupada called the monkey over, starts having a conversation with the monkey. Look, you're a monkey because of this, this and this. Give me my book back. The monkey goes, all right, then thank you. Walks away, Like they do, So like this. Exactly. There are many, many examples like this. In our Bhagavatam, there is Lord Rishabhadev. Many examples, but we haven't got time to go into that. I had some also prepared about Rishabhadev.
Dog stories.
Dog stories, yes, please share with us. What dog story? Which dog story is it? There's so many.
Coconut in the train. Don't know.
I think I read it in Maharaj's book, in the Animals in Krishna Consciousness, Janananda Maharaj's book.
Prabhupada was traveling in a train with some disciple. At the moment, at a certain time, he asked one disciple to buy
Some coconut.
Then he was offered to Krishna. He drank. Prabhupada drank, and then he gave to
Everyone.
To his servants. The first was gulping. Okay, I hope I didn't finish
the whole lot. Yes.
So he gave to
the next person.
Another devotee. So sensing, I don't want to take so much. There's so many other disciples, and they drank many times. and the coconut was not empty.
You see? Wow. That's the mystic siddhi of Srila Prabhupada. You see, look at that. The coconut didn't get empty. Where does the dog come in? I don't know, anyway. So this is what I mean. It's nice, coconut. So unlimited coconut. You see, so you can actually manifest unlimited coconut. You see? Look at that. So, because of the time, I'll just summarize. We talked about the various parts of the material creation. How many elements were there? 24 elements, yes. We focused on the false ego and the real ego. What's the real ego? Real ego is we are the servant of Krishna. And we talked about sound. It starts with clear hearing. We described the component parts of sound. And then we looked at the different siddhis, primary, secondary, others. And we learned about various personalities who've developed these siddhis because of the Bhakti Yoga process. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Bhagavatama Puran ki. Jai Gaur Premanande. Thank you. Maybe one question? One comment?
There is another pastime with the plane.
Oh yes, with the muli rice.
No, they were working with some disciples in the countryside, and they was giving an example like this plane which is going to Bombay. Speaking about going, so gave an analogy of that. And one disciple he calculated, but Prabhupada, this plane is not going to Bombay. So here, Bombay is opposite. So Prabhupada was firm. No, this plane is going to Bombay. But Prabhupada, they were arguing like that.
So the disciples were saying, they were arguing, the plane is going that way, Bombay is that way. Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
the plane turned around. Completely around and went back to Bombay. Because Prabhupada wanted to go to Bombay, the plane went to Bombay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, dear devotees, for listening to me. Hare Krishna.